Well, hello everyone, welcome to Yorkshire Gamer. Last week I had a look at my 15mm Germans for Project Kursk, and I said at the time that I'd show off the Russians that I've done, and here we go, here they are. This is the Russian force to date, my starter force I like to call it. We don't do skirmish gaming here at Yorkshire Gamer, if you didn't really realise already. So I picked up some Russians a couple of years ago and had a play with them, probably the best way of describing it. I just wanted to see what they look like, get some mid-war Russians that I haven't got any Eastern Front stuff at all. My 6mm stuff is late war Normandy, and the 28mm stuff that you've seen on the blog and on the video is early desert. So it was a bit of a gap in the armour, and I thought I'd give it a go, more for personal exploration of the models and the figures than any great project for a game, etc. But I'm sure we'll end up playing it here at some stage. So there we go, there's the layout, the Russians as they are at the moment. And if you watched the German video last week, you noticed I didn't have any infantry or support weapons for the Germans. They're in the paint process as we speak. So with this army, I've got some ground forces, some infantry, and we'll have a look at the various components of the army one by one. So first up, of course, is the T-34, and at Kursk we were only T-34 76s, mostly Ds, which makes it nice and easy for looking up factors, etc., because all the Russian tanks or medium tanks are basically the same, which makes the life a lot easier. There's 26, I think, tanks here. I bought a box of 5 a couple of years ago, just to have a play around with, and these 5, those are these guys here, and these have had a little bit more weathering on than the other guy. The other ones I've done a little bit more mud on those, and it's something I might look at with the other ones. All the other tanks were painted same time as the German tanks while I was on holiday a couple of weeks ago, and not really done much weathering and stuff with them. It was more a case of producing a large amount of stuff to get a big game going. So that's the first 5 that I bought, and then I bought one of these boxes from Plastic Soldier Company, and mid to late war Russian tank battalion. And if you're going to buy tanks, there's no point farting about with it, just get a big box full of them, and you do save quite a considerable amount of money buying this box set. You get some T-70s in there as well, and 26 vehicles in here. I think it's 21 T-34s and 5 T-70s, and you also get some decals as well, so well worth going for. If you're going to get some a large quantity of tanks, then that would be the way I would recommend going for it. They are really nice models in that you've got the option of having a couple of the guys as tank crew. You get 1 tank commander with each sprue, and you've got the option that obviously if you don't put a tank commander in one, then you've got a spare one, and with a bit of cutting and pushing and swearing, you'll get 2 in a tank. These are the ones that I did on holiday, considerably less weathering. I've got some mud from Tamiya mud I might try on them, just to dirty them up a bit, but it's all really just ink washes to bring out and highlight the detail on these models, and the detail is extremely good. So this is kind of a clean T-34, if you like. If you look closely, you'll see that the tanks are sequentially numbered, and that isn't anything particularly historic. I did quite a bit of research trying to look at Russian tank numbers, and there just didn't seem to be any recognised pattern like the Germans did with the 3-digit number, battalion, company, platoon. The Russians just didn't seem to have any set method of doing it. So what I've done is I've done this for battlefield recognition for us, for gamers, so that when we're recording damage to a tank, then we know which tank we're talking about. Or if you're pointing, saying 118 is going to fire at that village over there, etc. It just makes life a lot easier on the battlefield than having all your generic tanks looking all the same. So there we go, that's our T-34s. We'll be back in a second with some more tanks. Next up for Tank Fest is the T-70s, the Soviet light tank. I wasn't particularly aware, I have to say, I wasn't particularly aware about this vehicle, not really looking at the Eastern Front much prior to this little project. So this was quite a nice little surprise, nice little, I hate to use the word cute for tanks, but it's got a nice look about it, got a bit of a sporty look to it as well. So it was kind of the mainstay light tank by the Russian army by this time. There's a few T-60s kicking around. That's not the T-60 from Cold War, it's a version of this with a smaller gun. And I bought 5 of these with the initial batch, and again that's these guys who are a bit more heavily weathered than the previous ones. The second batch I bought and painted on holiday. I put a bit of sort of mud overwash on these. It's very, very nice, and you just see the difference with the newer ones, the ones that I painted on holiday. Slightly less mud on it, but nicely weathered, bit of pin wash on it, a bit of overall wash on it in a couple of places, and job's a good one, perfectly good battle top stuff. So there we go, there are 10 T-70 light tanks. So the final batch of tanks for the moment are these. These are British Valentines, would you believe? And a little bit of digging around some of the Lend-lease stuff. Was it Kursk, Churchill's, Grants, those sorts of things. And I happened to be in a model shop one day. I can't even remember where it was now. It might have been down in Bristol. And there was nothing I particularly wanted. And I wasn't going to walk out of the shop empty-handed, by Jiminy, no. So I saw these Valentines and I thought, oh, they were at Kursk, weren't they? So I bought a box of these, and they're very nice models indeed. And I've used a slightly different number on the side of these. They're all sequential, same as the other guys that we looked at earlier on. And they've got lots of nice ridges on these to use your pin washes to bring your detail out. And on one of them, on this one, I've had a little go with the Tamiya mud. Not 100% convinced with it yet. I'd like to get a little bit more contrast on it, but it's got the start of something there, so I'll give that a go on some other models later on when I get a chance. So there we go. There. The final tanks in this little first batch are the Valentines. Like the Germans that we looked at last week, I've actually got some support weapons for the Russians, and I bought a box of a very useful box of ZIS-3 76mm anti-tank guns that also double up as 76mm field guns. So 2 different gun barrel types in the box with crew, and managed to produce 4 guns from it, which gives me a little bit of options with the Russians. I'll be getting stuff like this for the Germans going forward, but they're just not through the door yet. I've left the guns off for now, and then if we look closely at the Russians, they're quite nice poses, and they've got these lovely little boxes of open ammunition Kind of makes like a little mini diorama on the bases. Oh, there we go. Light the faces up. So there we go. Some Russian, let's call them heavy support weapons. So after the big support weapons, we've got some infantry support weapons. And this comes from one of the boxes from Project Soldier Company. They do a basic infantry pack, and then they do an infantry support weapons pack as well. So there's basically three different types here. We've got our classic Russian Maxim. A bit fiddly to put together that, but we got them together in the end. And then we've got some anti-tank rifle guys, and these come in prone and a separate. Just showing some light on those. And a marching one as well. And then there's various different types of mortar. We've got these large mortars, which I've just put 4 crewmen on, so we can determine that they're large. WW2 and then a more basic sort of 81mm mortar, 3 crew, and then finally the little baby mortar with a couple of crew. Again, they were quite interesting to put together with the tiny little arms, etc. That's the Russian support weapons. And finally, we've got the basic infantry, and this all comes from one box set of Project Soldier Company Russian infantry in summer uniform, and this will represent approximately, well, it's 3. It is exactly 3 companies on our rules. So I've got 2 companies of what I'd call ordinary Russian infantry, with 1 command stand, and then these platoons here, or which will represent, it's about 1 to 4 is the scale of the rules, so these would represent a platoon. So you've got 1 base of 4, 1 base of 5, all rifle armed, and then a secondary base with in this case, prone and firing LMG. 2 of those, and then in the distance we've got a SMG company, and that's just got 2 bases, and each of those bases has got, one's got a 5, one's got a 4, all armed with SMGs. So just have a closer look at some of the figures. So this is the SMG crew. We're not doing masterpieces here, but they've come out all right, and I'm relatively pleased with the faces as well. So just 2 figures on that, and that is a 30mm frontage by 40mm depth. And then the bases of infantry, we've got 5 figures on there. And they are a 50mm frontage with, oh, I do apologise, 50mm frontage with a 40mm depth. Apologies for wobbly cam there. And yeah, they're alright, these. Again, I do struggle now with painting 15mm, but I've managed to get semblance of faces on them and a bit of shading as well. I'm not going to be winning any Turner prizes for them, but they're perfectly good for the table. And then finally, with these guys, we've got our SMG base. Some quite nice poses there actually, quite like those. So there we go. That's our infantry for the Russians. I've got some German infantry on the go and I'll paint some of those up probably over the next couple of weeks. I'm going to set up a solo game once I've finished this bit of filming, and also I've got a review of something to do as well, and then hopefully in a few weeks' time you'll see some results from that. I'm not sure whether I'll do it as a video or as a blog post, but we'll see. So thanks very much for watching. That's the start of my 15mm Project Kursk Russians, and I'm sure there'll be many more to come. Thanks for watching. See you soon.